Hey everyone, today's read is from 1 Peter 4, and as I was reading this, I was thinking I would want to call this video, Are You a Part-Time Christian? And then I'm starting to think things through, and I'm thinking about it, and I decided just turn on the camera and start rolling with it. Don't think too much, just let it roll. And that's kind of what I wanted to do here. I wanted to read this. And before I read, I just want to say there's a friend of mine that just recently got saved within, I think it's been within the last 6 months. And he's part of the 40-day reading challenge that we're doing. And I just see an amazing work that God is doing in his life. I mean, he's growing him leaps and bounds. It just read his posts, and it just from the heart, and it's right on. And he shared something today that was just awesome. He said some of his friends are confused about his new life of his, and some of them are calling him a Jesus freak and a Bible thumper. And of course, when you're not saved, you don't realize that that's the greatest compliment you can pay to a born-again Christian, is to call him a Jesus freak. And as I was reading this and thinking about his email, I realized, it just came to me that there's no such thing as a part-time Christian. I mean, if you are truly born again, there's no such thing as being part-time. And this first few verses of chapter 4 in 1 Peter prove it to me. Tell me what you think. Okay, verse 1. Since therefore Christ suffered in the flesh, arm yourselves with the same way of thinking. For whoever has suffered in the flesh has ceased from sin, so as to live for the rest of the time in the flesh no longer for human passions, but for the will of God. Okay, does a part-time Christian punch a clock when he wants to do the God thing, and then punch out and then punch in when he wants to do the world thing? When he wants to partake in the lust and passions of this world and feed his flesh, does he punch that clock? And then when he wants to do the God thing on Sunday morning or whatever, does he punch a different clock? Is he living in two worlds, with a foot in one world and a foot in the other? You know what world that man or that person belongs to, and it isn't of God. Okay, because it says here, so as to live for the rest of the time in the flesh no longer for human passions, but for the will of God. Okay, and when you belong to him, when you're outside his will and you're saying, thinking, and doing things that aren't in his will, you're sensitive to it and you repent of it, right? Okay, for the time that is past suffices for doing what the Gentiles want to do. Okay, what do they want to do? People that are living for this world, what do they want to do? Living in sensuality, passions, drunkenness, orgies, drinking parties, and lawless idolatry. With respect to this, they are surprised when you do not join them in the same flood of debauchery. So do you still join them? Do you still want to participate in these things? Because after all, the opinion of man and the opinion of the people you hang out with is far more important than the opinion of God. I'm going to appease God on Sunday morning or whatever and do my thing, but on this other time, I have to appease the world. Are you doing that? Or are you full-time, sold out, surrendered to Jesus Christ? Okay. Because when you're sold out and surrendered to Jesus Christ, those old acquaintances, those old friends will malign you. They will be confused what you're doing. They will make fun of you behind your back. They will call you judgmental. And the list goes on. So, let me read that again. With respect to this, they are surprised when you do not join them in the same flood of debauchery, and they malign you. But they will give an account to him who is ready to judge the living and the dead. There will be a judgment day. The word says, "It is appointed unto man once to die, and then the judgment." So, that's it. Are you a part-timer? Because there's another word. Revelation has a word for part-timer. It isn't part-timer. It's called lukewarm. The lukewarm Christian. What will Jesus Christ do on the day of judgment with the lukewarm? Have you read it? Do you know what it says? What is Revelation? Do a search for Revelation in the word lukewarm. What does Jesus say? He says, "I'll spit you out of my mouth." It'll be a foul taste to him. "I will spit you out of my mouth," says Jesus Christ, to the lukewarm, to the part-timer. Peace. God bless.